Hello, everybody. Welcome. My name is Brae Wyckoff. I'm the director of Kingdom Writers Association, and today we have a very special guest from Cali, Colombia, Maria Terreros, and she is an interpreter, and she interprets our English books into Spanish, and she can also take Spanish books and interpret them into English. And what a great skill and talent to have on board. So welcome, Maria. How are you doing?
Thank you, Brad. It's great to see you, and thank you for having me around. It's been a pleasure since the very first time we met. It's been just fantastic. So thank you for having me.
You bet. We've met a little over a year ago, 2 years ago, I think,
Yep.
and it's just been just wonderful to work with you and just to become your friend and see how you become friends with so many other authors and so many other people. It's just you have such just a great face and a great personality that you work with people, and your smile is contagious
Oh,
and
thank you.
makes me just want to smile all the time when Maria's smiling. And I love getting your personal messages when you send them to me in your voice, and it's like, "Hello, Bray." And
Yeah, I'm more into voice messaging than texting for some reason. I just think it gives you an idea of what we're feeling and sensing and everything. And so yeah, but
I
thank you
love
for
it.
telling me that.
I love it. And I loved working with you on getting my book translated. I had my Kingdom Writers devotional, there it is up there, in
Right.
English. And then we got this translated into Spanish. And I loved the whole process of working with you. The way you did pointed out certain phrases or words in the book that you were questioning what is the meaning behind this in
Uh-huh.
English. And so you'd work with me on trying to figure out what's the best translation. And you just didn't take it for what it was and just translate it. Because to be honest, we have to trust you because we don't speak the language. So when
Right.
we look at this and go, wow, this I don't I can't compare and say, is this right or not? We
Uh-huh.
have to build trust. And so I love working with you, Maria. You're so easy to work with, and you're so efficient and just amazing. So explain a little bit for us your process and how you developed this interaction with authors and getting that translation correct.
All right. So, well, first of all, I'm going to tell you a little bit about how I got my English and how I ended up doing what I'm doing right now. When I was 17, don't do math right here. My parents sent me to the States, and I ended up living in Texas. And went to high school there, and that's where I learned. I was not forced, but I had to, otherwise I was not able to communicate. I was not able to speak. I was not able to do my homework. I cried for over a month because I couldn't understand anything. And then, I had a dream. We might talk about that dream later, but then I started being able to connect with people who write and have a passion for reaching out to the nations. And so I've been doing this for 15 years, over 15 years already. And
Wow.
it's been a fantastic process of getting to build trust. That is the foundation because it's exactly what happened to me. I had to trust the community that I was surrounded with or by when I lived in the States. And, it was just like, I didn't know how to get places. I didn't know how to order food. I didn't know how to survive. And it was just like a matter of saying, okay, I'm here and I'll trust the way you lead me. So when we connect with authors, we try to, just build a foundation of trust and tell them you're not alone in the process, even though you don't speak the language. Let me walk you through it. Let me help you. So the approach basically is like, okay, let me see your manuscript in English. I'll read it. So something that is very important is that nowadays you can translate things like this, because we do have a lot of tools and stuff like that. But what we do when we translate is that we take the time to read the manuscript and really go deep into it, you know, so that, and you've been with me before. And so it's just like, I create this chart and I say, okay, this is what it says in English in this page. And then, but I have this question about this. It might be a tiny little word that maybe sometimes I know what it means, but I want to make sure that what you're saying through your book, it's exactly the way it is also in Spanish. So sometimes, most of the time, I should say, the idea is that people will read it in Spanish, you know, like for example, your book, and they would not notice the difference between the translation and the original content. You know, that they will just sense that, okay, Brae, when he sat down and prayed for these words in this book, he did it thinking about me in Colombia, Mexico, you know, wherever the country might be. And so we keep a close connection with the writers and we ask them questions. And it also helps me to learn because, you know, learning the language is life, it's a life task. You know, you do it every day. So, but it's always good. It's always good. And something that I really like to do also is to create an extra chart. And you know, if I notice something that in terms of what I know about English and I have a question, then I'll ask you questions, you know. So, you know, I was like, okay, Brae, what is it? Why did you use this here? And blah, 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 blah. And that's good because it helps me to understand the structure better and to also keep building abilities so that for the next person who connects with me, it's much easier to, you know, get the target and just do, you know, even get ideas or suggestions if they are open to it, because, you know, we have different styles and we work different when we write books.
Yeah, exactly. And I know that when you were working with Jill with supernatural creativity, you were and with me, you found errors in the English that we were able to go back and fix the English version and make it even better. So it's a double blessing. We get the translation and you help find errors
Yeah.
that might the person that's getting the book translated might not have been aware of. Well, of course,
Mhm.
we weren't aware of it.
Yeah, and it's good because it helps you also to go back to the book and then to for future, you know, printings or whatever, then you just correct it. And it's just, it's good to do teamwork. That's the thing, you know, it's always good to team up and then just work together and just, you know, you're blessed by the work we do, but also we're blessed by the opportunity to get to learn about the material, the content, the message he has given you. And it's just fantastic. I love it.
Yeah, and you hit something very important there, teamwork. That I felt like we were part of a team working together, and you made that feeling with me as well. And we were able to just make the best that we could make it together. And I feel like you take ownership of each book that you translate, like it's your own
Mhm.
book. And that's super important. And I'll address the authors that are listening to this, that it's very important to find the right people to work with. And Maria is a gem. She's brilliant and she's just so easy to work with and she's worth it. She is worthy of getting your book translated. How many of us as authors have dreamed to have our books translated into another language? And why? Not just to be translated, but to reach a whole other nation, a whole other culture with your words. How amazing is that? Maria, tell us what's your why behind this? Why are you doing this? And what, brought you into this process of interpreting books?
Right. Well, part of it goes, you know, like it goes back to 2002. Well, it was actually 2001 in I was in Texas. You know, I have always felt like really into reading and writing. I loved it. I did it since I was a little tiny girl. And but in Texas, I had plenty of time to read. And so I started, you know, like reading and reading and reading. And then 3 months after I arrived, I had a dream, and in the dream, I was in a room, and I was in between two groups of people, and I was translating from Spanish into English the whole dream. That was my first dream in English, my whole life. And I woke up really excited. I went down, looked for the person who I lived with in Texas. Her name is Vicky. And I said, you know, God, I just had this dream. I was so excited. And she said, Maria, God is giving you a gift. Just treasure in your heart. Don't forget about this dream. And I kept going with I kept going on with my life. Did my senior, came back to Colombia, blah blah blah. Long story short, then I start remembering about the dream. You know how sometimes God starts like, hey Brae, do you remember
Yeah.
this? Or hey Maria. So I was like, oh, then one day as I was talking to my husband, he said, that is part of your purpose. And I had been already doing mission trips and being an interpreter and everything. And I said, that is so right. It was right there in front of me. And so the why behind what we do or what I do is just I am called to be a bridge and to connect nations, because it's just like it's a way of reminding us that we're all family. We are part of a family. And sometimes, Brae, I've seen it because I like to read. And so sometimes there are fantastic books and manuscripts and everything that are already in English. And it takes years, sometimes more than 10 years, for us in Central America, Latin America, and other Spanish speaking countries to get them, And so by the time we get them, it's just like, okay, you already went and did what you needed to do with it, the material accomplished its purpose. And then we're just like kind of like behind, kind of like that.
Yeah.
So it's always good to be willing and open to say, okay, you're there wherever you are in the States, and you have something that he has given you for such a time as this. And so
Yeah.
I'm the one saying, okay, let me help you get it out, because it's for the purpose of letting people get to know him in a different way. God's grace, his love, his power, his passion for the creatives as well.
Yeah.
And it's just like it helps you to um it's like taking someone by the hand and just say, okay, you're not alone, let's do it together, and
Yeah.
let's keep expanding his glory all throughout the nations if that's possible.
Yeah. That's so true. Like how many of us need that help, that helping hand. Like we can, you grab our hands and say, I've got you. You make us feel so comfortable going through the whole process. And that's part of the teamwork and the relationship building and the trust. There's just so many layers to working with you, Maria, and it's such a joy. And I encourage anyone listening to this to get your book translated. It is worth the investment, and the time, and just building relationships in different nations and cultures through what you've written and being interpreted. Maria, you just launched your new website, mariainterpreter.com.
That's right.
So just look that up, mariainterpreter.com. And she's got everything laid out there, and she's got her mission statement and just kind of a lot of her services. And her mission, we aim to present a translation that conveys the meaning of the original text, and just amazing communication. There's a quote from Matt Tommy on there, and how hard it is to find the right interpreter to interpret your work, and that he worked with Maria, like I said, and found that in Maria. So what a great thing to do for yourself, a gift for you and a gift for the Lord, to have your book translated. And so, Maria, would you share any final thoughts that you have for our authors?
Yeah, well, when you just mentioned that it is a gift for for ourselves as authors and for the Lord, it's also part of a legacy that we're living. Because as you
Yeah,
just stated, and by the way, you guys, Jill and you are also part of the website, and you can go ahead and visit it, and just read the testimonial. And so
yeah.
anyhow, before I move on with my final thoughts, thank you for allowing me to be part of the Kingdom Writers
Thank
Association.
you.
It's been an honor. It's been a dream come through, and it's been fantastic. So just rest assured on the fact that we cheer you all up, and we're here in Cali, Colombia,
Yes.
and that it's always good to also find people who are willing and have their eyes open to see and their ears open, but also their hearts open to, you know, welcome people and just walk along trying to accomplish what he has called us to do. So anyhow, so it's also part when we do translation, it's depositing a bigger legacy into the nations, you know, because you don't know where the book is going to end up anyway. You don't know if that's a book that maybe someone is going to buy and then it's going to give it to someone somewhere else in a different continent, and maybe those words that he has given you, that he has allowed you to write, are the exact same words that someone in Colombia, Peru, Ecuador, Argentina are longing to hear. And those messages, like your words, can also reach out and save lives. And then later on, as time passes by, maybe your kids, your grandkids are going to say, hey, you know, my mom, my grandma, she wrote a book and it's even in the nations. And that is going to be a blessing, not only to the nations, but to them, because it's going to inspire them to do things always having a bigger perspective on, okay, how can we do you know, what we do in a matter of impacting as many people as possible, and that is also building kingdom and building community.
Yes. Oh my gosh, that is so important, guys. So important. And what a blessing, Maria, to have you part of KWA, Kingdom Writers Association, and part of the team, and supporting all of these kingdom authors and people around the world. What a blessing. And it's definitely a divine setup from the Lord that we were connected through others, and the rest is history, as people would say. But the future is bright, and so we're excited to continue to work with you and other authors. And so please, everybody, go to mariainterpreter.com. I'll put the website and her email in the video below on YouTube, so you can have that information there as
Right,
well.
and remember that if you're part of the Kingdom Writers Association, if you're a member, you get a discount, a very nice discount. So you just use it, and let's connect.
That's fantastic, guys. So blessings upon our Kingdom Writer Association members to get a discount with Maria. So mariainterpreter.com. This is Maria Terreros from Cali, Colombia, and she is ready and willing to interpret your book into Spanish or English to Spanish, or Spanish to English.
Right.
So we're just so thankful for you, Maria. Thank you for joining us today and being a part of this.
Well, thank you for having me. We love you guys. We think of you. You guys are such an inspiration to all of us down here, and we can't wait to keep seeing what God has in plan for, like his God plan for us,
Oh, yeah,
and let's just keep doing it together.
that's right. Big plans for all of us. I'm excited for the future.
Right.
All right. Thank you, Maria.
Well, you're very welcome. Have a fantastic day. Love
You
you.
too. Love
Bye
you.
bye.